Hey, what is going on, guys? In today's video, we're going to have a look at the Project Era Sniper meta, which is currently in patch 6.21. Now, a few weeks ago, I did a discussion on the shotgun meta after the pump shotgun got nerfed at the beginning of Season 6, and it seems like you all really enjoyed that video, and I also got a specific request to do it on the sniper meta. So today, we're going to have a look at the sniper meta, but I plan in the future to have a discussion about the SMG meta, AR meta, if you guys are interested in me continuing this series. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to look at where the sniper meta was in Season 5. We'll then transition to where it is today in Season 6, and then we'll go into two parts of the future, both if Project Era follows the historical path, as well as what we could do to make it even better if we opt to ignore the historical path of Fortnite. So I think it's important to look at the previous season before we talk about the current season to understand of where the sniper meta trajectory is kind of heading. So in Season 5, if I were to describe that season in one word, it would be diversity. That meta was incredibly free and diverse. You had 3 viable shotguns, 3 viable ARs, 4 viable SMGs, and 3 viable snipers. It was incredibly open to where you could really choose whatever you wanted. If you wanted to run a sniper, you could. If you didn't, well, you didn't have to. And I think that meant that the snipers were a good option in that season, but they weren't a mandatory gun like a shotgun is or an AR is. Now, in that meta, you had 4 viable or 4 general options. You had the semi-auto, the bolt action, the hunting rifle, and the heavy sniper. Now, I think the semi-auto was overall the weakest choice. I would rate it as C tier, and it could work, but it wasn't a gun that was particularly good. What it did do is it provided newer players with the opportunity to learn how to snipe because that high rate of fire helps you get used to the bullet drop. So I think that was a good thing for the game, but it wasn't a particularly strong option. Now, in terms of your other 3 options, I think it was pretty close over which one you choose. In my opinion, the heavy was best, but in that season, you guys actually disagreed. In Season 5, I ran a poll on which sniper you guys thought was the best. We got 49 votes in that poll, and our number 1 choice was the hunting rifle, with 51% of you selecting the hunting rifle as the best option in Season 5. In second place was the heavy sniper in 29%. Third place was the bolt sniper in 18%. And fourth place is a semi-auto in 2%. I'm very surprised anybody picked the semi-auto, but maybe you were new to sniping, or maybe you just really liked the way the gun sounded or something like that. So, in my opinion, the heavy sniper was the best choice, but you guys actually disagreed at that time. I thought the hunting rifle was. I think that just goes to show that the meta was very free and diverse. You could pick whatever sniper of the 3 you wanted. If you wanted high rate of fire and speed, the hunting rifle was where it was at. If you wanted high damage and one-shotting walls, the heavy sniper was where it was at. And if you wanted to mix the two, the bolt action was where it was at for you. And I think that was overall a really healthy meta. Now, with the transition to Season 6, we've had a number of changes that we should talk about. The first thing is Season 6, we've kind of lost meta diversity because not only have we lost shotgun options like the double barrel got nerfed, and we lost the LMG and silence SMG, I think the big thing that affects the sniper meta is the hand cannon's introduction. Because the hand cannon is a really strong all-purpose gun. It can kind of work as, if you need it as a shotgun in an emergency, it can kind of be a shotgun. If you need it to be a structure destroyer, it can do that. If you need it to be an SMG or shotgun follow-up, you can do that. AR, it can kind of do that. And honestly, it can kind of be a sniper. I'm not saying you're using the hand cannon to one-shot people from 300 meters. That's not realistic. But the hand cannon can work pretty well at long range. 50 damage is no slouch. And especially if you're on controller, oftentimes you're better off just tapping L2 and going for a quick hand cannon shot that has a very high probability of hitting than going for a risky snipe where you have no aim assist. Do I think that's made snipers obsolete in this meta? No. But I think it just makes snipers slightly harder to justify because once you have a shotgun and a hand cannon, which you should realistically be taking if you can, once you find those two, you know, do you really want to run the sniper, or would you rather have an SMG, right? It's a little bit harder to justify the sniper, but snipers are still totally reasonable. Now, the other 2 changes to talk about is the semi-auto has been vaulted. In terms of the actual endgame meta, I don't think that matters because not very many people are choosing the semi-auto. I do think it makes it a little harder for new players to learn, which I do think is unfortunate, but it's not the biggest deal. The other thing is we have the gold bolt action back, which is not a historical thing. The gold bolt action did not exist in real Fortnite Season 6. So just something to keep in mind. Now, in terms of the balance between those 3 snipers, I ran this poll again in Season 6, and we got a much larger sample size. 265 votes in that poll. So thank you all for voting. I'm really glad to see more votes, because the more votes we get, the more accurate of a feel we can get for the community uh, overall community idea on a particular gun meta. So of the 265, this time we had a bit more expected results. We got 74% voting for the heavy sniper as being the strongest option. I would agree with those 74%. I do think it is the strongest option. In a distant second, we have the hunting rifle in 16% and the bolt action with 10% of the vote. I think that sums up the meta pretty well in my opinion. I think the heavy sniper is overall the strongest option. 150 damage is kind of ridiculous as well as being on the one-shot walls. But I do think the hunting and the bolt are both also viable choices if that's what you prefer. So overall, I think snipers are slightly weaker in the season, but I don't think by any means they're obsolete or useless. They're still very good. If you want to use it, it's still a perfectly reasonable choice to take any of the three snipers. So now I kind of want to go into where Project Era could go in the future. Let's start off with if it follows the historical Fortnite balance changes. So assuming you go to Season 7 next, because in later Season 6 we have no changes. In Season 7, we're going to see the introduction of the Silent Sniper in patch 7.10, which is going to nerf, bring basically a kind of nerf but kind of buffed bolt action sniper. It does a little less damage, but it is silenced. Is it better or worse? It does 105, 110 instead of 110, 116 for purple and gold. Do I think that matters? No, it's basically the same gun. You could argue the silencer is helpful. Sure, it really doesn't matter that much. And in the later patch 7.30, the bolt action gets vaulted. So basically, you just get the same gun replacing the same gun with a silencer, but a little less damage. Overall, that makes very little change to the meta. However, in late Season 7, I believe we also see the hand cannon structure damage get nerfed, which brings the hand cannon out of being an insanely prominent gun, which I think is an indirect buff to the snipers because you're going to see less people running the hand cannon, which means it's a little easier to justify a sniper in your loadout. Now, I think the sniper meta is overall pretty healthy, and I think it will stay healthy in Season 7. I don't think the sniper meta is really in big trouble. I'm much more worried about the shotgun meta coming soon. So, I don't think that would be bad if we just followed the historical curve. I really don't have a problem with that. But, I think we have to ask ourselves, is Project Era really designed to be played as true historical OG Fortnite? Is it really? We have a gold bolt action didn't exist. We have a pump shotgun change that never exists in any version of Fortnite. We have Siphon, which didn't exist in this version of Fortnite. Like, Project Era really isn't fundamentally true historical Fortnite anymore. And I think that's a good thing. Because I think something we have a chance with this Project Era is making the best Fortnite that we possibly can. And I think that means we can make the sniper meta even better than it already is. Now here's what I would do. I would leave the bolt action and hunting rifle exactly the same as they are. I think they are perfectly balanced. I think they're both B tier guns. They're good. They're not broken, but they're good, viable options if you want to carry it, but you're not required to. Now, in terms of the heavy snipe, I would argue we should either leave it or give it a very small buff. Now, in historical Fortnite, I believe it was Chapter 2, Season 2, the heavy sniper got basically destroyed. It got its damage nerfed to 126, 132, if I recall correctly, which I think is way too much. I don't think we need to nerf it that far. What I would do is if we could balance the heavy sniper just slightly, all I would do is give it a 10 damage nerf. So it'd go from 150, 157 to 140, 147. What that means is you can't one-shot to the body if someone has 150 health, and that is the only real change. I think what that will do is just slightly tone down the heavy sniper, but I also think I'd be perfectly okay with just leaving it as is. I don't think the heavy sniper is as broken as the pump shotgun or the hand cannon is right now. Now, what I would also do is I would actually bring back the semi-auto sniper. I think the semi-auto sniper is an important piece of the game because it helps new players learn how to snipe. And I think it can be viable, but I don't think it's a solution is like Fortnite OG and giving it 100 damage. I think that is a terrible solution. It should not be able to one-shot you because as soon as the semi-auto can one-shot you, there is very little reason to run the bolt action at that point. I don't think we can increase the damage anymore because as soon as we hit 80 damage, with a 2.5x headshot multiplier, you can one-shot. I don't think that's the solution. What I would do is give it maybe a very slight rate of fire buff. It doesn't have to be major, maybe 0.1 or 0.2, but just make it slightly better. Again, small changes. Make a small change and see if we can make the semi-auto more viable. All I'm trying to do with this change is bring it up to B tier to be a little more competitive. Because honestly, last season we had 2% of people voting for the semi-auto. I think that just goes to show that the semi-auto was not really a viable choice last season. And I think if we were to bring it back, just a very slight buff to the semi could really help it make a 4 sniper meta, which I think is ideal. We had a 4 SMG meta in season 5, and I loved it. It was so free and open. 4 choices. You didn't know what people were going to run. It was really fun, and I think we can do that with the sniper meta. So, my idea is just to slightly spice up the meta by bringing more options into the game, and I think that is possible. But I don't think the sniper meta is in a bad place. I think it's overall in a good position. 3 options is nothing to scoff at, and I think we have bigger issues coming. So I don't think the sniper meta is a major priority, but just to recap. So in this current season, your options are the hunting, the bolt, or the heavy. You are not required to take a sniper, but if you'd like to take one, you can. If you're not sure which one to take, I would recommend the heavy sniper if you already know how to snipe. If you don't know how to snipe, maybe try the hunting rifle because it shoots fast, you can learn it. But once you kind of get your playstyle down and you figure out which one you like, just pick whichever one you like because they're all viable. Thank you everybody for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please let me know. If you disagree, leave a comment. I'd be happy to read it and have a discussion with you. And if you guys keep enjoying this series, I'm happy to do this on the SMGs, on the ARs, on the pistols. In fact, I think we should do it on the shotguns again now that the pump shotgun's been buffed. And just keep having these discussions because I think they're fun to have and I think they're important discussions to have because Project Era has shown us that they are willing to make balance changes that are non-historical. And I think that opens up a big window to make an ideal Fortnite that we just never got to have in real Fortnite. So thank you for watching this video, everybody, and I'll see you in the next one.